Hello friends, this video on Matter and Magnetism Part 17 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till Part 16 before going ahead with Part 17. Now let us try to calculate the magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor. So we will make use of Biot-Savart law and we will try to calculate magnetic field at a certain point due to a straight current carrying conductor. So we will try two scenarios here. One is a straight conductor and the other one would be a circular loop. For both of them, we will apply Biot-Savart law and we will derive an expression for magnetic field at some point. Okay, so let us suppose we have a straight current carrying conductor here. As you can see, this is a straight current carrying conductor. So let us suppose that some current I flows through this conductor. And we have to calculate the magnetic field due to this conductor at some point. Let us say this point is P, which is at a distance r from this conductor. So how do we calculate the magnetic field? We will have to apply the Biot-Savart law. Now, so for Biot-Savart law, I need to choose a small element from this straight conductor. So let me choose a small element dl. Let us say this is a small element AB of length dl. And we say that the distance of this small element from the point P is x and it makes an angle theta. So what is this small angle? This small angle is d theta. So if this is x, now if AP is x, BP is also x because this is very small. This dl is very small. So we have assumed a small element. Now according to Biot-Savart law, the small magnetic field due to this small element dl at point P. What will be that small magnetic field? That small magnetic field will be mu naught by 4 pi I dl sine theta. Now I dl sine theta divided by r square. So what was r? R was nothing but the distance of the small element from the point P. So what is that distance? That distance is x. So this will be x square. And what is theta? Theta is nothing but the angle which this small element subtends at point P. So that means the angle which this, if this angle is theta, this angle is 90 degree, right? And this angle is theta. So what will be this angle? This angle will be nothing but 90 minus theta. So what is this angle? When we talk about this sine theta, it is nothing but the angle between the small element dl and the vector and the position vector. So position vector in this case is x. So this is my small element dl and this is the position vector x. So the angle which the small element makes with the position vector is this angle, that is 90 minus theta, right? So we take this angle as 90 minus theta. So what is this? This becomes mu naught by 4 pi I dl sine 90 minus theta is cos theta. So this is cos theta by x square. So now in order to get the total magnetic field at point P, we will just integrate the small magnetic field. So we get mu naught by 4 pi integration of I dl cos theta divided by x square. And what would be the direction of this magnetic field? Now here we are talking only about the magnitude. Now let us talk about the direction. So when I talk about direction, we will apply the right hand rule. So according to right hand rule, so let us talk about direction now. So according to right hand rule, B is given by dl cross r. So that means take all your what is the direction of dl? dl is in this direction, right? This is the direction of dl. So take all your fingers towards dl cross r. Where is r? R is nothing but towards the right. So it would be somewhat like this. That means first all four fingers will point in this direction and then your R is somewhere here, right? The R is somewhere here. So that means all your fingers will curve like this. So take your fingers straight, curve them like this, right? So what is the direction of your magnetic field? So the magnetic field, your thumb points downwards into the plane of the paper. So the magnetic field is downwards into the plane of the paper. So let me call this as equation 1. Now let me draw a perpendicular N. Okay. So now consider, now I will just do simple mathematics. So consider triangle ABN. So if I draw that triangle separately, it looks somewhat like this, where this angle is 90 degree, this angle is 90 minus theta, because we assume that since this element is very small, so if this is 90 minus theta, this is also 90 minus theta. And what is this length? This length is DL. This is your point B, this is point A, and this is point N. Right? So in this triangle, we can write that from simple trigonometry that sine 90 minus theta is equal to AN divided by DL. So from this we can say AN is equal to DL cos theta. So let me call this equation as equation 2. Now let us consider triangle ANP. So if you consider this triangle ANP, so draw it again so that your life becomes simple. So in this case, what is this angle? This angle is d theta, right? And this is x, this is 90 degree. So this is A, this is N, and this is P, right? So in this what happens? Sine d theta becomes equal to perpendicular by hypotenuse. So perpendicular is AN and hypotenuse is AP. So that is equal to AN by X. So from this we can write AN is equal to X into sine d theta. Now here we can see that d theta is a very small angle, right? So if theta is very small, then sine theta can be considered as theta. So we can write AN as X d theta. Sine theta can be written as theta. So sine d theta can be written as only d theta. So this becomes AN is equal to X d theta. Now we already know that now we got this value of AN. So what we do, we put this value of AN in equation 2. So what are we going to do now? So let me do it here. So put this value of AN in this equation. So what happens? So equation 2 becomes, instead of AN, I write X d theta is equal to DL cos theta, right? So now what I do, now I put DL cos theta is equal to X d theta. This is what I got from here. So this I will put in equation 1. That means in this equation, instead of DL cos theta, I will put X d theta. So what will I get? I will get B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi integration of I divided by x square into X d theta. So this X and one X will get cancelled. So I will get B is equal to mu naught I by 4 pi integration of d theta by x. So this I will call as equation 3. So now I again consider another triangle, that is triangle APO. So this is the most evident triangle, that is APO. Let us call this point as O. So let me draw APO. So let us draw APO. This is O, this is A, and this is P. So this is R, this is X, and this angle is theta. So for this triangle I can write cos theta is equal to R by X, or I can write X is equal to R by cos theta. So we put this value of X, put this value of X in equation 3. So what do I get? So my equation 3 becomes B is equal to mu naught I by 4 pi integration of d theta into cos theta divided by R. So what do I get? I get mu naught I by 4 pi r integration of cos theta. And what is integration of cos theta? It is nothing but sine theta. So we say that, and this integration we do from some initial angle theta 1 to some final angle theta 2. So this becomes sine theta from theta 1 to theta 2. Therefore, magnetic field B becomes mu naught I by 4 pi r sine theta 2 minus sine theta 1. So this is the most generic expression that you get for calculating the magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor at some point which is at a distance r from the conductor. So now let us look at certain special cases. So let us consider the first case. In the first case, we consider that the conductor is a finite conductor. That means the length is finite. The length of the conductor is finite. So if the conductor is a finite conductor, and which is this angle theta 1 and theta 2 I am talking about. Theta 1 is nothing but, let us suppose if this is the conductor and this is the point where I have to calculate the magnetic field. Theta 1 and theta 2 are the angles which the ends of the wire subtend at this point, right? So these are my theta 1 and theta 2. So I call these as theta 1 and theta 2. So now see, theta 1 and theta 2 will keep varying. So if I consider a finite conductor, let us say if I say that theta 1 is equal to phi 1 and theta 2 is equal to some angle phi 2, but it is in the opposite direction, so I say it is minus phi 2. So what will be your magnetic field be? This will be mu naught I by 4 pi r into sine phi 1 plus sine phi 2. So because this theta 2 will always have this negative sign, because we will always measure theta 2 with respect to this axis. So one theta will be above and the other theta will be below. So it is better that we incorporate the negative sign here. So this becomes your magnetic field at any point for a finite straight current carrying conductor. Now let us consider the second case of an infinite conductor. So what happens if the length of the conductor is infinite? In that case, what would be the values of this phi 1 and phi 2? So you always keep this expression as your general expression. Because if you keep this expression as your general expression, you have to incorporate the signs of theta 1 and theta 2. But this expression is already after including the signs of theta 1 and theta 2. So if the conductor is infinite, that means this length will keep increasing. Now as this length keep increasing, this angle also keeps increasing. So that means when this angle will become equal to pi by 2. So let us suppose the length increased. So this angle will also increase. The length increased even more, angle will also increase. The length increased even more, angle will also increase. So this angle cannot increase more than pi by 2, right? Because the length cannot increase more than that. So that means when the conductor goes infinite, your phi 1 and phi 2 both becomes pi by 2. So now I don't write it as pi by 2 and minus pi by 2 because I am considering this expression, and in this expression the minus sign is already taken care of. So phi 1 is pi by 2 and phi 2 is also pi by 2. So your magnetic field will become mu naught I by 4 pi r into sine pi by 2 is 1, again sine pi by 2 is 1. So B is equal to mu naught I divided by 2 pi r. So this is the magnetic field at some point P for an infinite conductor. So you might have questions related to such conductor, that maybe you are given a conductor and you have to find out the magnetic field at some point. So you have to apply these formula. So I mean, why I told you the derivation is, if some other type of question is given where you cannot directly apply the formula, in that case you can follow the same approach. And if you have a problem where you can directly apply the formula, you are free to do that. Okay, so now that we studied about the magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor, it is time that we study about the magnetic field due to a circular loop, because in case of a circular loop there is a little difference than what we study in case of a straight conductor. So I hope the direction of the magnetic field for a straight conductor is also clear to you. Okay. Thank you.